So, when you are deciding on what kind of show to do with a group or with your class, you've got a few different options. You can choose a script, a play that already exists. You can pick a story, a book that you know that your class likes and you can adapt it into a play. Or you can devise your own story. You can devise your own theatre. So I'm a huge fan of devising. I think it's great because it's a really good way to make sure that everyone in the class has their voice heard. Everyone can input ideas, everyone can say what they want the play to be about, what part they want to play in it, what words they want to say. It's a really cool way to make sure that everyone's voice is heard and that your class, your young people have loads of ownership over the piece that they're making. So devising is great, but obviously it can be quite challenging. Sometimes if you've got 30 people in a class all giving ideas, not really agreeing with each other, it can be a bit overwhelming and it can make you decide to just give up and go back to a script. So hopefully this video will persuade you to give it a try. I'm going to give you a few little hints, tips, things that I've found quite helpful as starting points for devising. So here we go. So the first thing that you need to think about is a starting point. So what is your show going to be about? What is your topic? What is your theme? Now, if you are in school and you already have a topic or a theme that you're working on in class, then that's a really good place to start. So it could be that you're going to devise a show about World War I or about Scottish history or about cyberbullying, whatever it is that you're looking at in class at the moment. You could take that and you could devise a show around that because you've already got some places, some characters, some stories that you can just lift and start to make theatre with. If you don't want to do that, if you want to be a bit more creative, then you could choose a topic or maybe a title that could be your starting point. So something that's nice and open and creative, but also is still a bit of an anchor that gives you something to work with. So it could be something like The Mystery in the Attic or The New Head Teacher. So something that has a bit of scope for creativity, but it's also got some restrictions. So your class can't run completely wild with ideas. The other thing that you can do, if you're feeling brave, is to go in with nothing and ask the class or the group what it is they want to devise a show about. So I do this sometimes with groups where I go in maybe with a big, huge, blank piece of paper and put a question on it, like usually something like what is important, and get them to think about a response or an answer to that, and then get everyone to write an answer down on the paper. We would then go over everybody's answers and see if there's any kind of common threads or an answer that maybe comes up a few times, and if so, we might select that and use that as our theme for devising. However, if your group aren't really agreeing with each other or there's too many ideas, then this can become really headachy and not fun. So if you're new to devising, give yourself an easy life and you choose the topic. So once you've chosen the topic, then I think quite a good place to start is to get your class into groups. So maybe groups of 5 or 6 is quite a good number for this, but depends how many you've got in your class. It might be bigger groups, might be smaller groups, but roughly 5 or 6. And you're going to ask them to take their topic. So let's imagine that your class have taken the new head teacher. That's going to be your topic. So take the new head teacher, that title, and create a movie poster or a play poster for their show. So at the moment they don't know what it's about, so they're really just using their imaginations to think about what could happen in it. So it could be scenarios that happen in it, could just be that we see some of the characters, but to create a still picture or frozen picture where everyone is frozen as either a character or as an object, but no moving and no talking. So it's just as if someone's come and taken a photograph of them. Okay, so give them a little bit of time to think about that, to work on that, and then bring everyone back together and have a look. So see what each group has done. And what you're really looking for here are 3 things. You're looking for locations. Are there any places that are coming up that you can use in your play. So it might be a head teacher's office, the canteen, the playground, the staff room, who knows. But look for these, or ask the groups to look at each other's pictures and see if they can pick out any locations that they could use for their play. The second thing you're looking for is characters, so we'll probably all have a head teacher for each group, but also what other characters are there? Are there pupils? Are there other teachers? Are there janitors? Are there aliens? Right? You might get some suggestions that are quite wacky, a bit strange, but actually that's great because you can keep those and you can maybe use those if that's the direction that you want to take your play in. So take all ideas at this stage, they don't have to be particularly realistic. The last thing that you'll be looking for in your movie posters or your images is just the kind of general mood or the feeling of the story. So does it look like it's a funny story, or does it look like it's a scary story or a mysterious story? What do you think is the overall feeling? And talk to the class about that. You know, have a look at each picture and say, you know, how does it make you feel? How do you think it would make you feel if you watched that story? And then actually maybe just come to a decision with the class about what you want to do, what kind of show you want to make. Although with devising, you're not going to make every single decision on the first day, but sometimes it's good to make some decisions, just so everybody's on the same page and knows what they're working to. So maybe that's the decision you make that day on your first session, is that you're going to make a comedy or you're going to make a mystery, and it's going to be called The New Head Teacher. So once you've decided on those things, or you've had a think at least about those things, the next thing that you would probably want to think about is getting everybody a part, or giving everybody a role. So in a Devise show, I personally prefer not to have leads and main parts. I prefer to make it much more of an ensemble. So what that means is that everybody's role is equal, and that everybody has the same amount to do. So a way that I find is that it works quite well for devising is to break people off into groups of different characters. So that's good because it means that not everybody's just kind of playing the same kind of part or doing the same thing, but it also means that you've then got ready-made little groups that you can send off to work on different scenes once you get to that point in your process. So you can ask the group what kind of characters they want to play. Ideally, those groups will be made up of people that want to be in those character groups, but it might be that there has to be a bit of compromising going on. So you might have one group who are teachers, and within that your head teacher character will be in there. You might have another group who are pupils, another group who are parents, another group who are aliens, right? Or if you find that most of your class want to be pupils, then you could take that bigger group of pupils and break them down into smaller groups. So you might have the sporty pupils, you might have the musical pupils, you might have the bullies. So you can break that down. If people are really keen to all be good doing a similar part, then there are ways to get around that and make sure everybody's happy. So early on in your process, you want to have your theme or your topic, which could be, in our case, the title, The New Head Teacher. You want to have a rough idea of maybe some of the locations, some of the characters, and the overall mood of the show that you're going to make. And then I'm going to stop this video in a wee minute, but there will be another video where I'm going to talk you through what you could do next, what your next steps might be, because at this stage you've probably got loads and loads and loads and loads of ideas, and you need to know what to do with them. How do you channel them and turn them into a show? So if you go back onto Visible Fiction's website, you'll find another video called Devising 2, and that will show you what your next steps would be. Good luck!